Hey, what is on, gamers? It's your boy Dom here, back once again. Chris, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Pretty good. We're on the road to the Great American Bash. I'm excited
This is the
here.
Go Home Nitro.
We're about 6 months into the pay-per-view, and let's just keep on rolling. We got good stuff going on here. Of course, with Thunder, we got some insanity, but just from what Chris has kind of shared with me here, we got a good one. So, all right, buddy, I'm gonna let you take the wheel here and try not to crash us. All right, try not to steer us off too much. But I'm gonna guarantee you guys, Chris will be going at least 120 miles per hour. So
At least 120. I treat this NASCAR style. There's really it's craziness on the road to Great American Bash. Obviously,
just don't make any
we're
wrong
kicking off.
turns.
We're gonna kick off tonight actually with a contract signing for that world title cage match at the pay-per-view. Obviously, Eddie Edwards last week picked the cage match. Eric Bischoff announces as the men are signing the contracts that tonight is pick your poison for both men, meaning that both men will select the opponent for the other man. Eddie is going to pick his opponent for Davey Boy, and that match is next. And Eddie says, you know what? I'm taking a good friend of mine. I'm taking Jeff Cobb to take you out, Davey. And that's going
Oh,
to be next. And in an exceptional match, Davey Boy defeats Jeff in 12:39 with a running power slam. Match got an 80. Good performances from both. Jeff Cobb got a 92 actually,
I
which
would
is nuts.
say it's better than exceptional.
I was gonna say that it's much better than an 80 rating if the ratings are actually worked correctly math-wise.
Never gonna stop complaining about that one, will we? But
Yeah, I think that's the
wait,
running joke of
wait,
these
wait,
things.
wait for it. Okay, Jeff Cobb's good because I remember last time he was booked, he was like on drugs, but
Yeah, Jeff Cobb,
he got
he learned his lesson.
he got it together.
So, so we got a little bit of fun here. So Matt Marquis is backstage. Obviously, the NWO has been kind of running roughshod, including Warbeast back there is back just walking up to walls and spray painting the NWO logo all over the hallways. Matt Marquis walks up, blows his whistle, and says, "Vandalism is highly against the rules, fellas. Myself and Simon Grimm will teach you wrongdoers the right way to do things tonight." Jacob Fatu looks at Matt Marquis and just laughs and says, "You may want to go check out your partner before you talk about that." With that, Matt Marquis runs into his locker room to see Simon Grimm laid out with the NWO spray painted on his back. Matt Marquis screams for the EMTs.
Help! Help! Help!
And in an exceptional match, which was for who was going to face obviously Jordan Oliver at the pay-per-view, we had Pac had a draw
We need to talk
with
about
Garth.
this number though.
Yeah, the 59. I don't get that.
We need to talk about a 94-93. I know the match needed more time or to tell a story, but
But during the match, Jordan Oliver ran in and attacked both of the men because he doesn't want to face either man at Great American Bash. Next segment.
I mean, props off. Can't blame him. Can't blame him. Honestly, you know.
And in the next segment, you got all of YDMB came into the ring. They're starting to beat down on both men. And Mauro Ranallo takes the microphone, gets away from the table real quick, and says, "Gentlemen, I have just received word that due to the interference of YDMB, it will now be a triple threat Ultimate X match at the pay-per-view for that WCW Light Heavyweight Championship." YDMB did not like to hear that. They are going nuts. Corden is saying, "I will sue this whole company." And they are just completely enraged at the announcement that this is now going to be a triple threat with two guys will both have a shot to take that belt away from Jordan Oliver, who seems to have a stronghold on this division so far. Next. And in the next segment, we have a little bit of some flock talk. They're talking about Rosemary and Bagul. And Raven says, okay, enough's enough. You guys fan out, search the arena. Bagul obviously was here last week. I don't know what kind of magic tricks he was pulling on us last week, appearing in our clubhouse and not being here, and there not being a trace of him. But we will find him tonight. As they're running through the halls looking for it, they're checking everywhere. Kevin Condren is running through the hall searching. He bumps into Zeta Zhang, which spills her Starbucks all over her new dress that Al Jones got her. This enrages Al Jones, who gets up in Kevin Condren's face and says, I don't like what you did to my girl. I'll see you in the ring tonight. And in a handicap match, it was a superb handicap match because obviously Simon Grimm was taken out. Matt Marquis is defeated by Warbeast. Jacob Fatu pinned Matt Marquis with a Samoan drop. Another hot new move from Jacob Fatu. That's the second week in a row. And he carries the match. Next.
Man, I know that 91's pretty good.
After the match, Simon Grimm, toward the end of the match, was actually trying to get to the ring to be able to help. He was hobbling, he was limping to get to the ring to help. He was not there in time as the beatdown just ensued. As he got to the ring with a steel, he was carrying a steel chair. Matt Marquis is laying in the ring. Jacob Fatu and Joey Machete just slide out of the ring and make their way around the ring and back up the ramp, just smirking at both those guys. Grimm gets on the mic and says, you know what? I couldn't be out here because you guys were too coward to just take me on in the ring. We will see you guys at the pay-per-view. Rulebook versus Warbeast at the pay-per-view. And with that, Warbeast is just shaking their head and rubbing their hands together like, oh, we got you guys again. In a decent match, Al Jones defeats Kevin
carried
Condren
that one
via submission. Al Jones had an 84. Kevin Condren had a 34. The announcer was a great performance from Al Jones. He really stood out. Al Jones is becoming a star. And next. And after the match, we had Bagul show up on there. Raven was actually supposed to be a part of this segment too, by the way.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay. So just pretend Raven's there for everyone who is watching the screen right now. So what happens with that is we got Raven sitting there. Raven gets on the mic after the match. And he's like, okay, enough's enough. Bagul had distracted Kevin Condren during that match. And he's like, come talk to me. Bagul appears on the screen and just starts laughing and says how cowardly it is that Raven has someone like Mike Bennett fighting his battles for. Raven says, you know what then? Let's make this a triple threat so I can punish Bennett for his insubordination over the last few weeks and rid the world of you, Bagul. The scene ends with Bagul singing You Got a Friend in Me to a frightened Rosemary. And our next, we have FTR comes out to the ring. And last week, we sent those fossils back to the Stone Age. And then Casey McKnight says, they are the toughest tag team going today. There's no one that can out-tough them. With that, Tommy Dreamer and Sandman are coming through the crowd. They got Singapore Canes. They're drinking some ice-cold beers. They accept the challenge for this week to take on FTR.
A great segment, too.
In a superb match, FTR defeats Tommy Dreamer and Sandman when Cash Wheeler pins Tommy Dreamer after the Shatter Machine. This is defense number 2 of the WCW World Tag Team Championships. Casey McKnight stood out there.
Yeah, had a 96 performance there. Of course, these guys are old, so even 8 minutes is long for them.
Okay, so after the match, actually, FTR just continues beating down on Sandman and Dreamer when all of a sudden America's Most Wanted shockingly appears and runs FTR out of the ring. Storm gets on the mic and says, "You boys thought your open challenge at the pay-per-view was going to be a cakewalk? Well, sorry about your damn luck." And in our main event, an exceptional match, Alexander Hammerstone defeats Eddie Edwards by pinfall with the Stonebreaker. During the match, Davey Boy Smith distracted Eddie Edwards, got an 80. The match had the crowd buzzing. These two didn't really click, and it got an 80, so I'll take that.
Yeah, fair enough, honestly. So.
And then after the match, Eddie Edwards is just beaten down by the NWO. The NWO is celebrating. You got War Beast with their spray paint, just spray painting the ring. They spray paint Eddie Edwards. It's an NWO celebration to close out the show and head into Great American Bash.
Good deal. 79 got plus 31. Joey Machete was used a little too much, but
I mean, I figured someone was going to be used too much.
Now we take you guys to the Parkside Prison for Thunder. So, in a very shocking turn of events, I was sitting here. My sister was eating a pretzel. She looked over me. Her face dropped. I looked over. My face dropped. I don't think Chris even realized it yet.
What?
Stone Cold Steve Austin has passed away.
I just realized it.
He has passed away in our universe, my friend. Wow. So, all right, we'll take you to Thunder. All right, everybody, we are here for a Thunder now, kicking it off at the Parkside Prison. This time, the
Parkside Prison, here we
dimmed. Go. But we got a little serious here. We got Brian Pillman Jr. here, cutting a very passionate promo, giving tribute to stunning Steve Austin, the one of the only Stone Cold. He also mentions his father and saying how he used to team up with them and that he was hoping one day that him and Steve would be able to relive the glory in the modern day WCW.
Dude, smoked the prison beer in for him.
Sadly, that day will not come. And they're going to ding the bell. Is everybody around? Even the prisoners, they're all crying. They're all sad that Stone Cold Steve Austin is
all
sad.
Prisoners, think about it. Stone Cold, kind of, no offense, Stone Cold, the character Stone Cold, acted kind of like a guy who everyone in prison would love.
He was lawless. He was
ruthless. He drank beer. He was lawless.
He fought back against the authority.
He fought the authority. He was the original, like, guy you would see. Like, Stone Cold is like the guy, like the stereotypical guy you would see on cops as being arrested.
He didn't actually die, by the way. Just pointing this out. No. It sucks because in the database he died, and so.
Dude, no, it really hit me hard that he died in the database.
I was like, dang, because like when we expand from medium to large, that's medium to big.
We're gonna be able to get people at that level, and honestly,
now we can't.
But
we kick it off here. We have a simulcast, a dual cast here, multicast, whatever you want to call it, where Jim Cornette and Walter are seen there at the prison. But Johnny Ace is seen with Sammy G at some random place, some random like bar or whatever. And Walter's wondering, Jim Cornette's wondering, he's like, "Where's your boy Cass at?" And Johnny says, "He wouldn't listen to me. I spoke some sense into Sammy and said that this is not how we're going to represent Paramount." However, Cass is adamant that he will be there tonight by your side, Walter, in the main event. But Jim, I don't approve of any of this. And that's why I'm going dark the rest of the night. You won't hear a word from me. And Jim's like, "Well, that's fine and dandy, because I don't want to hear nothing from your mouth there, Johnny. Or that Sammy G you got there with you. What a disappointment to Paramount, in my opinion. But don't worry, me and Walter, we're keeping the law here tonight. We've kicked out all the prison guards. It's all about us tonight." After that, we kick off the show pretty hot here with the OVE versus the Von Erichs. I like to think during this, by the way, we have a lot of like prison uniforms, you know what I mean? So like OVE out there coming out with like orange jumpsuits, beating the crap out of the Von Erichs. They're brawling, they're going into it.
Dude, I'd like to think that all the prisoners are like banging on their bars and they're all going nuts.
Yeah, they're like, because like they have the ring, you know what I mean, in the middle, but then like there's the prisoners who are in their cells and they're just like clinging against the cells, getting into it. After that, people are thinking this is probably going to be outside, you know, in the, what's it called, but it's actually inside, which is the funniest part. After that, we have EC3, another one cut to on the monitor there, because they brought the little TV, but it's on big screen for everybody else, you know. And he's out there with Max instead of Cruz, and he's just grinding into him, and he's like, hey, look at OVE there tonight. You know, we're not going to be out there. I'm not risking my health out there. But tell me, what happened in Japan last week there, Maxence? You gotta be the one to explain that to me. Why couldn't you get the job done against Muda? You have some big shoes to fill, and you failed against Muda? That's a disgrace. And he slaps him across the face. He's like, Maxence, you're gonna have to step it up. And Sunday, let me show you how you kill a legend. Kind of a little edgy there, a little too far in my opinion. But after that, we have Tenille Dashwood, the women's champion, of course, defeating Kiera Hogan with the roaring elbow. And after the match, as she's laying into her, big girl Piper coming down in her jumpsuit, knocking the heck out of Tenille, and the crowd, quote unquote, is just losing it. You hear some whistles there. They're all for Piper. They're loving her. She's just laying into Tenille and throwing her against the side of the steel bars, grinding her face against it. Heck, they even take her sunglasses and throw them into one of the cells, and guards have to go in there and take them back. It gets wild. After that, we have The Whisper and 0-1 versus NetherRealm. Sadly, the NetherRealm able to get the best of The Whisper and 0-1 here with TK Orion pinning 0-1. After that, we cut to one of the prisoners, who's the one and the only Joe Exotic, making his TV return. He's sitting there. He says, "Hey, Orange Cassidy." He's like, I got some of these little crack rocks here. He's like, you want some? You want some? And Orange is looking at him. He just nods. You know, he's got his finger in his pockets. He's doing a little wiggle and jive. And Jinx comes up, crazy as a crackhead, jumping around. She's like, what do you got there, Joe? He's like, hey. He's like Cassidy. He's like, Orange Man here. He's like, what about we ditch this chick here, and you and I, we go, you break me out of here and we go pet some tigers. How's that sound? Orange Cassidy, though, says, nah. And Jinx, she's like, what about me? Can I pet some tigers? And he's like, well, I'm sorry, sweetie, I'm not into you. And so these are, they're off. You can't have any of them. And she looks all disappointed. Orange Cassidy's wiggling his thumbs. She's like, aw. She's like, do you really love me? And he starts wiggling some more. She's like, okay. So then the two of them start leaving. Joe's like, what about me? And then Orange Cassidy just looks back at him. And he just looks forward. And they just keep walking away. And Joe Exotic's still there clinging, trying to get out. To this very day. After that, we have Addie Kingston here taking on Glam Sexco. Glam Sexco able to get the best of here of Addie Kingston with the Death Valley Driver. Pretty good. Following that, we have Alberto El Patron taking on Marco Stunt with the bridging German suplex. Able to get the best of him there, and after the match, Yosuke Santa Maria running out there to try and rescue Marco. However, Angel Rose just jumps from the top of one of the second lining of prison cells. Just lays right on her, and it's two start brawling it out as Alberto picks up little Marco and shoves him into the crowd of just prisoners who've been let out there for good behavior, but now they're starting to get a little rowdy, so they're starting to fan him back there as they release Marco. He almost gets lost in the crowd, the shuffle there, sadly. Then in our main event, we have Marty Scurll teaming up with Brian Pillman Jr., of course. They let him out of his cell. They said, hey, Buff, he's still in isolation, but we've arranged for you to have a little match here tonight because you've been on such good behavior. Mr. Marty here can vouch for that, Apparently he's gotten permission from Jim Cornette also. Walter, he's fine and dandy, ready to rock and roll. And Cass shows up, of course. Big Ford F-150, ready to fight. However, as you can guess, Walter ditches Cass as Brian Pillman Jr. here able to get the win of Cass XL with the Tornado DDT. And as Cass is sitting there lifeless, that's when Walter He goes, and he blows a whistle, and there's a full charge. There's just a riot there, and all hell starts breaking loose, and you start to wonder what's really going on as prisoners are fighting each other, fighting the wrestlers, and Walter goes and throws Cass into the crowd of wrestlers, and they all start brawling, and they have to cut away from television. It's almost too hot for TV. As we come to a close here, right before the Great American Bash, wondering how this is going to impact going into the pay-per-view. But that's going to do it here, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see how everything turns out at the Great American Bash next time.